old technology! Look at how relevant this is, oh my god!
The trimline telephone was introduced by telephone manufacturing company Western Electric in 1965. The phone was rather revolutionary for its time, considering its compact size, light-up dial, moving finger stop, and receiver dial. This sleek design of this skinny piece of metal and plastic can be credited to Henry Dreyfuss, also known for his work on the Model 302 and Model 500 rotary telephones, along with the famous Dreyfuss-Hudson of the New York Central Railroad. Trimlines have evolved quite a bit in the past 64 years, with touch-tone variants being released only about a year after the phone was introduced, along with many new design quirks developed in the following decades. This specific telephone remained a rather popular part of households and businesses throughout and beyond the 1980s and 90s. The phone was also rather popular in films and television shows. Take, for example, The Simpsons. Even Terminator 2 gave it some attention. Yes, this thing was indeed an attention bringer. Actually, it was one of the first American phone designs to be recognized by Europe. Over there was referred to as the Manhattan and Gondola. Why? Trimlines have arguably faded in popularity over the years, though, as they aren't seen in too many households nowadays. Boy, that statement was flawed. However, there are still many modern examples of trimline phones. The latest I've seen was
2011-2010.
Plus, you can probably find some older models at your local Goodwill. The phone we're looking at right now was manufactured by Cetesa Malaga in late 1979. It's rather average considering some of its details. The color is a generic beige, which was common for trimlines at the time. But if you look closely, the line cord is not the same color as the base and handset. This brings me to believe that this phone was rewired for modern phone lines at the time it was purchased in the 1980s. The volume switch is a lot more like a knob or dial than the traditional slider seen on American phones. The same volume knob can be seen on this other Spanish rotary phone I have. Interesting.
Guys, I'm unfamiliar with Spanish technology. I'm in need help.
Okay, now let's compare this to an American trimline phone. There are no differences except the fact that the Spanish one does not have letters under the numbers. This emblem is also different. On the base there is supposed to be a number card, but there's this weird logo thing. Also, the ring is different. Here's the American ring. Here's the Spanish ring. It can receive calls and make calls.
U.S. Naval Observatory Master Clock at the tone Eastern Daylight Time. 12 hours, 58 minutes exactly.
Now let's compare the analog speaker quality to my Samsung's digital speaker.
Hello, I am saying this from the old trimline phone. Hello, I am saying this from the modern cell phone.
Yeah, the analog is better. Trimline phone, 8 out of 10. So with that phone out of the way, we're gonna review this other phone. This telephone was manufactured by Abuela in the 1970s and follows early French phone designs from the late 1800s to early 1900s. This thing is bigger and heavier than the previous trimline phone. As you can obviously tell, because what are you, stupid? The base is pretty average apart from this emblem on the dial that looks like something out of a Greek epic or whatever. There's also this very elegantly designed hang-up price thing which really needs some oiling. Seriously, listen to this. The rotary dial itself is also okay, but it's a lot slower than the trimline phone, and it also needs some oiling. Although the handset is really weird looking, it's actually pretty comfortable to hold. I think what makes it look weird is the fact that the mouthpiece is very oddly shaped.
We are the French designers of the early 20th century, and we just finished building this wonderful telephone. The public's reaction really brought us out of business because people were complaining about how disgusting the mouthpiece looks compared to the earpiece. This is not disgusting! This is pure elegance!
It's kinda hard to look at, but when you're making a call, it doesn't matter. As long as it works, it's fine. The handset cord and line cord are a lot more like a very thick string than the famous spiral design. Again, this is a throwback phone. Speaking of the line cord, the end actually uses an Australian plug, which obviously doesn't work in America. So my mom ended up having to order an adapter that was inconveniently being shipped from Australia, which didn't work upon arrival, bringing my dad into having to rewire the adapter just to get the phone working 100%. So with that being said, let's look at the bottom of the base. There's the volume knob I was talking about earlier. There's the speaker where you can see some of one of the bells, and over here there's model information. Excuse me, is that the British Telecom logo?
I thought this was Spanish!
It's pretty nice to use. You can hear things fine, and the transmitter actually seems to be in better shape than the trimline phone.
Hello, I am saying this from the old trimline phone. Hello, I'm saying this from the other Spanish phone.
The ringer is also quite healthy. French phone. 7 out of 10 for the trouble of getting it working. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up my review of these telephones. Big shout out to my abuela who sent these in the first place. Your contributions to my channel mean a lot to me. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more old tech reviews like this in the future. Anyways, see you all in the next video. Bye!